Hi there, it's Lori, and I'm going to start with a story. For those of you who are not in the American education system, whenever we have state testing or standardized testing, which would be federal testing, that's less common, but state testing is pretty involved. And they do these training sessions every year for the teachers. And they call I'm going to give you all the crazy things about this, and it was hard to take seriously when I was a teacher. The person in charge of coordinating for each high school, because they're very large, the abbreviation they used was to call them the SAC. Yeah. So the SAC had to do the training and follow a script. It gets better, y'all. So we're in this training. All the teachers that are there, because that's how it works. You have to make sure, all the teachers are there. You had to sign a little thing saying you were there. I don't know if that's true in other states, but that's how it worked in Colorado. So that they knew for sure that you had been given the information. So if you happened to be gone that day, you'd get an individual training by the SAC. All right. So I don't remember what SAC stands for, in case you're wondering. A is administrator, but I don't remember what the other letters were. State administrator. No, it can't be. School administrator something. School administrator crap. We're going to call it that. All right. But the SAC was in charge, but had to follow the script so that statewide, everybody was getting the same instructions. So we're in this training, all the teachers, all the teachers present that day. And I wrote it down because I don't know who wrote these instructions, but I'm too immature to handle this. Like, I guarantee I had to look down and not look at anybody so I wouldn't burst out laughing out loud. Like, literally. This was the instruction given by the SAC. What to do if the testee finishes too quickly. Just going to let that hang there for a little bit. Okay, I just realized how not appropriate what I just said was in the context of what I said prior. Anyway, read a book was the answer. They had to read physical books. That's all they were allowed. And they couldn't have the book on their desk until their test was complete. Anyway, what to do if the testee finishes too quickly. Right. On to the Tunisian tote. This is for Armchair Chef Lori's birthday bash, and this will be a donated prize. I actually started here. So this was the original bottom. This is cotton cakes, Caron cotton cakes in beach glass. And I felt like this looked like sand, and then it was going, and I decided I would do this nice lacy stitch. These are all tutorials by MDL Crochet Michael. This was the small fan, I think, but I was like, oh, that's an open stitch. So then I was like closing it down a little bit. Oh, to separate them, I did a purl row right there. And then the fan stitch. And then what did I do here? I think I did a row of simple. I think. And then I decided I would do some knit stitch. But then I didn't like, you won't be able to see it because I lined it. I didn't like how much yarn that knit stitch was using. This is the inside of it. I made this with on the Centro. The inside yarn is just cotton, which is not just cotton. Both of these are cotton blends. It is 2 colors of blue, if you can see that separation. Because I just wanted it a little more solid on the inside. So kind of sewed that inside out. So the knit side is what shows when you're on the inside of that bag. But I also wanted to do it not only to make it a more solid bag, but also so that it would show through that lacy stitch, which I think is super cool. Okay, I'm going to flip it over upside down again for a minute. Then I did not color control there. Then I did the honeycomb stitch, which is kind of a hexagon. I only did a couple rows because for whatever reason I couldn't see it there very well. And then I went into the lattice stitch. Then when I got it long enough, okay, jokes, I'm going to stop. I did a purl row to define where I was going to, that's my halfway mark. And then I just continued. I did more lattice stitch. This is lattice stitch up until right here. I'm hoping you can see the difference. There's the lattice stitch. That's the honeycomb stitch. Hopefully it's not blowing out too bad. So you can kind of see these are more the hexagons. That's the lattice, more like diamonds. And then this one was called the palm tree stitch. I will link all of these stitches below. Again, all MDL crochet. And then I did some more honeycomb because I do like that to kind of give it texture. And then since I started with Tunisian Simple Stitch, I ended with Tunisian Simple Stitch, but I ran out of blue and it went into the white. So I did that little bit of white and then I had to use some just cotton up here. This is actually from another ball, another colorway. I can't remember. I'll have to look up what this colorway was, but I still have a lot of that left. And as I was doing this last row, I attached that lining, so I did not have to sew that in. I got really lucky that the 48 pin cinch was like the perfect size for in here. Yes, it's a little stretched out, but it's not like, that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't put like your projects in there like hooks, or certainly not a needle, a darning needle, but it's too small for most, well, I guess not for the little yarn projects. But anyway, so then I kind of did a mesh stitch after I attached that. I did a mesh stitch. I kind of sewed it in the sides kind of invisibly. You can't really see. You can see that the blue's coming through because there were two different ones because I ran out of the teal colored. Ran out of that one. Then I did a mesh stitch so that I could create the drawstring holes. And then I did a single crochet around and then a half double crochet around to connect everything and make sure everything looked clean and connected. Then the drawstring, what I did was I didn't tie this tightly on purpose. It's a foundation double crochet row. It's stretchy, but not like crazy stretchy. It went in there really nicely. Trying to keep those as even as possible. Okay, so I'm just like loosely knotting because this will go to somebody else. I'm going to show you. So then you can close it up and it's a decent size. You know, you can easily sling that over your shoulder. And there's the bag. So I'm very happy with this tote. Completely my own design. I did not design the stitches. Michael, I don't know if a couple of these are Michael's own stitches or his conversions. I'm not sure. So I will make sure to link them. But yeah, that where it's got a ridge, that's the knit stitch. And it was going to eat too much yarn and I knew I was going to have trouble with that later. Okay, so that's done. What else was I going to tell you? I found my Marley Bird project, which is good. I couldn't find it in the live. It's there's my Marley Bird. I have not worked on it since week 2, and then tomorrow week play 4 releases. I believe it's going to be a shawl. It looks real nice with the colors I'm using. The blues are all from, and the teal is all from Premier Basic DK. The wine colored one is from Cascade Yarns. But yeah, those are my colors. This is just the free version, the Netflix and Chill. I'm happy with it. It looks nice. I needed it to be easy. I'm not thinking. I've got more to work on the triangles. I did not make the triangles yet today because that one dropped out today. I watched some videos because per request. I watched some videos. You might see this on Whip It Wednesday if I get a chance to actually put some beads on here and some edging. Yeah, so I watched some videos on how to actually put the beads on as you go. So we'll see. These are the beads. Oh, sorry, so shiny. And then I'm going to be using the darkest blue And this will most likely get submitted to Armchair Chef Lori's birthday extravaganza as well. You definitely want to enter. Apparently, you don't have to donate your project in order to get a donated project. I misunderstood that, but you do have to enter. So, but if you enter, she replaces your yarn as best she can. So you're not out the yarn. And I wasn't going to use that as a shawl. That is my friend Becky's pattern. I will link it below. And with that, I think we're good. Tackle It Tuesday is Shannon from Another Yarns concept. Sorry, I keep banging the table. That sounds wrong. So Shannon from Another Yarn came up with Tackle It. And for me, it like typically it's I have a task that needs to be done ASAP. I wanted that bag done and off my plate. I need to take pictures in order to, I don't know what I was saying. Yeah, so that's how I use my Tackle It. What do I need? What absolutely has to be done? And that's what my Tackle It is. Now, if I tackle this is more in the original spirit of what Shannon's been doing, and it's old whips. To me, that's an old whip. That's from February. And I haven't touched it since February. I did the pattern testing for my friend, but the shawl isn't complete because I didn't do the border, and I wanted to put the beads on per actually MDL Michael's suggestion. He suggested the pearl beads, but I couldn't find any. That was a whole thing. Anyway, so thanks for coming in. Can I get an amen? There you go. What do you do when they finish too quickly? And hugs from me, Ma Potato Head. Hugs from me, whatever kind of hug you need. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Join membership if you're interested. See you all.